The story of America. Every nation has a heartbeat, a rhythm that echoes through time. For America, that rhythm is not just freedom or power, it's the unshakable spirit to rise again, no matter how hard the fall. From battlefields soaked in blood to rockets piercing the sky, America's journey is not a straight line. It is a story of broken dreams rebuilt stronger, of ordinary people doing the impossible. This is not the story of one man or one war. It's the story of a nation that learned to stand tall, fall hard, and rise even higher. The birth of a dream, 1776. It began with words, not bullets. In 1776, 13 colonies dared to say something no one had ever said to the most powerful empire on earth. We will be free. The ink on the Declaration of Independence was still wet when the fire began. Farmers, blacksmiths, and teachers took up arms against red-coated soldiers of Britain. They weren't fighting just for land, they were fighting for the right to dream, to speak, to live free. George Washington, a man with more scars than smiles, stood in the cold fields of Valley Forge. His men, barefoot, hungry, shivering, he looked at them and said, "We may be poor in supplies, but we are rich in courage." Those words weren't just for soldiers, they were for the soul of a new nation being born in pain. And when the cannons fell silent, America had done something miraculous. A small band of rebels had defeated an empire. Freedom wasn't inherited, it was earned through sacrifice, the dark storm within. 1861, 1865. But freedom once won ice and forever safe. Less than a century later, America faced its darkest test, the Civil War. Brother against brother, state against state. The land of liberty was bleeding from within. In the middle of this storm stood Abraham Lincoln, a man born in a log cabin, who carried more burden in his heart than power in his hand. He didn't dream of fame, he dreamed of unity. While others shouted, Lincoln listened. While others threatened, he reasoned. And when the nation broke apart, he held its broken pieces with both hands. In 1863, standing at Gettysburg, he said words that still echo through time, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people shall not perish from the earth. Those weren't just words, they were a promise sealed in blood. 600,000 lives were lost, but the Union survived. Slavery ended, and from that destruction, a more equal America began to rise. Lincoln paid the ultimate price for that dream, but his legacy lit a torch that still burns, a reminder that freedom I ascend to free, and unity is the greatest victory. The Age of Change, 1900 to 1945. The new century came roaring in with factories, railroads, and restless ambition. The air smelled like steel and smoke, but beneath it was something stronger, hope. Immigrants from every corner of the earth sailed across oceans to touch the American shore. They came with nothing but a belief that in this land effort could rewrite destiny. Then came World War I, the world's first great fire. American soldiers crossed the Atlantic not for conquest but for peace. They returned as heroes, but also as witnesses to the fragility of humanity. Barely 2 decades later, another storm rose: World War II. Evil had a name and tyranny wore uniforms again. The world trembled. Then came December 7th, 1941, Pearl Harbor. Flames rose over Hawaii, and with them a sleeping giant awakened. Factories turned into fortresses of production. Men fought overseas while women built planes, ships, and hope at home. Posters read, "We can do it," and America did. From the beaches of Normandy to the islands of the Pacific, the Stars and Stripes moved not as conquerors, but as liberators. When the war ended, the world looked to America, not for power, but for rebuilding. And the nation born from rebellion became the guardian of freedom. The dream marches on 1950 to 1970. Victory didn't end the fight, it changed it. The next battle wasn't on foreign soil. It was on American streets. It was the fight for equality, for justice, for human dignity. One man standing under the shadow of Lincoln's memorial spoke words that moved a nation's soul. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "I have a dream where children would be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." Marchers faced dogs, fire hoses, and hatred. But they didn't fight with weapons, they fought with courage, unity, and truth. From Rosa Parks refusing to give up her seat to the freedom. Riders refusing to give up their right to travel. Every step was a chapter in the rebirth of the American spirit. The civil rights movement wasn't just a protest. It was the continuation of the same flame Washington lit in '76, and Lincoln reignited in 1863. To the stars, 1969 and beyond. By the 1960s, America looked not just across oceans, but toward the stars. The space race wasn't about beating another nation. It was about proving what humanity could achieve when united by curiosity and courage. In 1969, when Neil Armstrong stepped onto the moon, his words carried 200 years of American history behind them. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Think about that, from wooden ships to rocket ships, from muskets to moon landings. From a dream of independence to a dream beyond the sky. The same courage that crossed the Delaware River now crossed the infinite black of space. The modern era, trials and triumphs. The modern America faces different wars, not of guns, but of ideas, technology, and unity. 9/11's tested the heart of the nation again. The towers fell, but the people stood. Firefighters ran into the flames while others fled. Strangers held hands, prayed, rebuilt. From tragedy rose resilience. And once again the world saw the same spirit that had survived every century before. Today America continues to lead in science, art, technology, and dreams. From Silicon Valley's innovation to NASA's Mars missions, from Hollywood stories to the voices of millions chasing new futures, the same heartbeat continues. Never stop moving forward, the lesson of the ages. Look back and you'll see a pattern. Every time America fell, it rose higher. The Revolution gave birth to freedom. The Civil War gave birth to unity. The World Wars gave birth to leadership. The Civil Rights Movement gave birth to equality. The Space Age gave birth to vision. And each of these rebirths began the same way, with one person daring to believe that change was possible. That's the real story of America. Not politics, not perfection, but progress driven by faith, courage, and determination. Conclusion. The story of America isn't over. It's being written right now by you, by me, by everyone who refuses to give up on the dream. Because America is not just a country. It's a belief that no matter how dark the night, the dawn will always come. When Washington crossed the Delaware, when Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, when King said, "I have a dream," and when Armstrong touched the moon, they were all saying the same thing: we can fall, but we will rise. So remember, freedom isn't a gift, it's a responsibility. History doesn't just belong to the past. It belongs to those brave enough to write the next chapter. The spirit that never breaks, the courage that never fades, the dream that never dies. That is America.